Good morning, beautiful divine souls. Welcome to another Divine Feminine Talks. And we have a great topic today. And it's something that will be very, very helpful and useful, in my opinion, to anyone. Any person who is on a journey of spirituality, awakening, tapping into the truths of life, returning to the truth, divine order, right? Because today we're going to be talking about divine feminine energy and masculine energy. Divine distorted, feminine, masculine. So if you are divine feminine, obviously that topic is going to be very important for you, as well divine masculines. But like I said, anyone who truly wants to become better, because we're going to be touching on some universal woundings, vulnerabilities in our energy. So specifically what I want to do today is walk you through what does it mean feminine energy, right? And what does it mean masculine energy? And then we're going to go through qualities of what do we mean when we say wounded feminine, distorted feminine, and healthy feminine, divine feminine. And again, the same with the masculine. So what is wounded, distorted, what is healthy? And as we go through that, obviously we're going to talk about certain things that we can do to course correct. What is it that we need to actually repair to heal that feminine energy within? And at the end, I'm going to explain to you the healthy dynamics. So how that healthy dynamic looks between the feminine energy and the masculine energy. So let's give it a go. Let's start. What I want to start with and address first is that you need to understand that every person, we carry within feminine energy and masculine energy, right? So regardless if you are a female or a male, your vessel, the gender of your physical biological vessel, and regardless if you externally, right, identify as a divine feminine energy or divine masculine, we all have both. Right? So first thing that we always need to do when we start healing, we need to address the woundings of both our feminine and masculine within, because we have to create that union, that divine union, that heterogamos union within ourselves first. So we have to cater to the feminine energy, cater to the masculine energy, and once they are healed, teach them to work together, to embody that healthy collaboration dynamics that I will explain in detail at the end. When we are ready to do that, when we've done that, right? So when we've centered, we've healed, we've reached our inner union, we will usually externally embody one of these energies, right? So you will either identify as a divine feminine energy, which means that you will lead in life with your feminine energy, or masculine energy, which means that you will lead in life with your masculine energy, in life and in relationship with another person, romantical union, relationship with another person. But it doesn't mean that even when we are in inner union, in external union with our divine counterpart, and we lead with specific energy, sometimes we have to pull on that other energy. So you can be fully in your beautiful divine feminine, and you can be in inner union and in outer external union, 3D union with your divine masculine. But sometimes life will require for you to pull in a little bit on that masculine energy within. And I always mention this, it's very important to understand these are non-gender specific, right? So there's going to be people who live in a male vessel, but they identify as a feminine energy. They lead with their feminine energy, and similarly vice versa. However, we do choose as a soul. It's our conscious choice whether we're going to be a female body or in a male body, right? And usually it links to a personal preference of a soul, preference of a soul. And because it is a conscious choice, majority of souls who like to lead with their feminine energy will place themselves in the female body. The why, it's a very complicated topic, and not complicated, complex, right? But it's the conditioning of that biological vessel that allows that feminine energy to fully develop, right? So it's the biological conditioning of my vessel, the shape of my vessel, the qualities of my vessel, the fact that I have a womb, the hormones, the chemical processes within my vessel that allow the feminine energy to fully emerge and flourish, right? That's why it usually is gender specific, but not 100%. It's a topic that there's a beautiful, beautiful divine feminine who explains this wonderfully, especially in the context of divine journey, twin flame divine journey, divine masculine, divine feminine. She explains why it does happen, but not that often, that you have either two male bodies or two female bodies, and within that pairing, one identifies as a divine feminine, divine masculine, and they are in union. And even rarer case, almost zero, where there's a pairing that it's flipped and then it's switched. So a female vessel that identifies as a masculine and a male vessel that divine identifies as a feminine. It almost doesn't happen, and there's a good reason for it, and she explains this beautifully. So I will link that video down below if you're interested to know more. So let's start from divine feminine energy. What does it actually mean? Remember, when I talk through these, think about your own energy. So you can be a male, a divine masculine on a journey of healing who identifies as a masculine, but you will have your feminine energy within, and you will have to cater to that energy. You will have to heal that energy, right? So these energies within, right? What does it mean? What do we mean when we talk about feminine energy? Not just without a person, but universally. What does it mean? The feminine energy is the energy of creation, is the energy of chaos, right? Kali energy is the energy of stillness, is the energy of home, is the energy of emotions, internal world, energy of the soul, and energy of 5D, of connection to divine, of is that energy within us that allows us to find the road towards home, towards inner guru, towards the divine, towards the void. It's that emotion, that intuition, the internal world. This is what we mean by feminine energy. So I want to talk you through right now certain qualities and areas, and we're going to be comparing when that energy is distorted and when that energy is divine, when that energy is wounded, when that energy is healed. So to take a step back, if you watch other videos of mine, if you watch me specifically on TikTok as well, where I post daily, you must have heard me talk about that us feminines, or the feminine energy, is the energy that connects us to the divine, right? Connects us to Father Universe, right? So it's this energy that operates and focuses on the upper chakras, right? So the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, and the crown chakra. And feminine energy is more vulnerable to disimbalances, dysregulations, and woundings around that energy, right? This is the energy that we have to cater to all, obviously, when we are in a union, our masculine and our feminine, but this is what we should focus on, especially when we identify with that feminine energy, right? So I want to walk you through those qualities attached to every upper energy point chakra that I just mentioned. So starting from the throat, if your throat is imbalanced, what distorted feminine qualities it can reveal? So from a perspective of the energetical point of the throat, when we are wounded, we're gonna be manipulative. So we're gonna use our speech to manipulate other people, words to manipulate. We're gonna be gossiping. So instead of focusing on us, creation, we're going to be focusing on other people's lives and talking about other people, whether that's people we know or celebrities or whatever that is, talking about others, gossip. We're going to be also oversharing, right? Sharing your story and sharing your emotions is not a bad thing, but when you overshare certain things that are private or concern something very deep within you, also involve other people, it's also a disimbalance of throat chakra. And as well as shallow conversations, right? So when you use that speech, this is the distorted feminine, right? So women, again, because I mentioned what I mentioned, it's going to be easier for me as well. So let's just establish that I'm going to be talking women and men, although it's not 100% gender specific, and it also links to our internal energy, but it's just easier for me. So let's just address that and let it go, okay? So that distorted woman, that wounded feminine energy, again, is going to be manipulating, is going to be gossiping, is going to be oversharing, is going to be engaging in shallow conversations, meaningless conversations. When you, however, are in your balanced energy, your throat chakra is cleared and is balanced, you're going to be that oracle, right? You're going to use your speech to speak from the heart, to speak your truth, to be the messenger and the deliverer of the divine knowledge, right? And obviously, sometimes, we have our daily life and we live this human experience and we have to engage in like daily mundane life, and not every woman is just like sitting in a forest and meditating and attending to people who use her as oracle. But basically a healed feminine energy, anything you say comes from a place of heart, comes from a place of truth, comes from a place of your values, comes from the connection with the divine, with the void that you have established, right? So next energy point is our third eye, located right here, that indigo beautiful energy point. When it is out of balance, we are basically, there are two main things that I want you to remember. One is going to be a reluctance to accept your reality, right? When we really connect, that third eye connects us to what's beyond the physical realm, right? So that third eye is our intuition, is trusting in that inner knowing that comes from the void. So, and whenever it's dysregulated, the wounded feminines will not accept the reality for what it is, right? So you will either be always too optimistic, no, it's fine, everything is good, everything is gonna be fine, or you're a complete pessimist. Everything is just horrible, you're constantly complaining, you're constantly just focus on that reality, because the closed third eye locks us to connect further to the divine. So it locks us in the matrix. So another distorted quality of a feminine is when you are too attached to societal norms, what is the norms of the matrix. You're sort of a stock. You don't go beyond towards the truth. But I think this because this is what society says, this is what people say, this is what my culture say, this is what my religion say, this is what the matrix expects of me, right? Whereas as you heal and you balance and open that third eye, you connect, you open, this is the gateway to the truth, what's beyond the physical again. So the healthy feminine, she's very intuitive. She trusts in her inner knowing, right? She doesn't question, right? It's this full understanding that the mind is a tool of the physical body to exist in this world, but the mind shouldn't question the information that I get from my intuition, from the void, from my guides, from the universe, from the divine, right? Next thing is going to be the crown, which is what opens us to the Father Universe and fully connects us to the spiritual realm, right? So the feminine that is distorted, that has imbalance in that area. Again, it exists on a level of feminine and masculine, but the reason I'm mentioning these for the feminine is because we're more prone to this imbalance in these areas because we connect to the divine. This is our job, right? The 5D is our job. So wherever there's this imbalance, you're going to be very attached to earthly things, right? So this is extremely important for divine feminine on a twin flame journey because you're going to be attached to physical outcome of the situation, impatience because you're attached to time, you're attached to signs from your masculine in the physical. Instead of believing he loves you, he's returning, he's on his quest, but why is he not contacting me? Why is he not talking to me? Why things are not happening, right? So you're too attached to anything that has a physical form. We're not supposed to be attached, especially as divine feminines, to anything that has a physical form, right? Outcome, success, money, physical success, physical abundance, physical validation. So when you have that disimbalance, you feel too attached. And you also feel very disconnected because of that from the divine, from your divine purpose, from your divine path, from the divine, from God. The role of the feminine is to connect us to God, right? To connect us to Father Universe. So you will be disconnected and you will feel alone. You will feel lost. You will lack that trust in your life, in your path, in the meaning of life, right? And oftentimes we're also bound here by our limiting beliefs. This is what blocks us to fully, right? Because again, we're stuck in a matrix and we have those limiting beliefs were not allowing us to believe in our greatness. This is our biggest blockage. It's not the fear of self-worth, it's the fear of our greatness, right? Because we're all great sovereign beings of light, right? And through all that, I talk about this all the time, especially when we talk about the journey of divine feminine. When you are too attached to the physical things, to outcome of situations, this creates the chaser energy, right? You chase for love, you chase for attention, you chase for validation, you chase for proof, you chase for confirmation, you look for logical explanation. You become codependent on these things, right? So I have my path, the feminine, the true divine feminine. I believe in my path. I have my path, right? I don't need things happening in 3D to know that I love my masculine, right? I don't need things to happen in 3D to know that this is my path. I don't need followers to continue having social media. I don't need, I don't need, how do you say this? I got distracted, sorry, drop down. You don't need physical outcome to know that you have a path, and that path, I spoke about this when I was talking about, I've done a separate episode about your path, and I said sometimes our path for a long time or sometimes forever in this lifetime, it doesn't link us to abundance, right? Abundance comes from something else, but the path is about who we are and how we do things, how we live our life, right? So it's this trust that if I trust that I'm supposed to be a shaman, I'm going to be a shaman even if I don't get paid for this, and then abundance is going to come from someplace else. Do you know what I mean? So it's this complete trust and detachment from physical confirmations and logical confirmations. And when you are in your healthy feminine energy, divine feminine energy, you you give instead of wanting, right? You understand that the greatest gift of life is to discover your gift and give it to others. So you stop sitting in this mindset of I want my masculine to come in. I want abundance from my path. I want more customers. I want more views. I want more followers. I want. No, I give. I don't care who's gonna listen to my messages. Maybe my message is just supposed to rise the vibration of the planet through me speaking it out loud, right? Or maybe it's supposed to reach one person. It's not for me to know. I trust. I know what I have to do every day because I follow my guidance, because I'm connected. This is healthy feminine, and you are very connected to your purpose as a divine feminine. You understand, again, that this purpose is not a job, it's not an occupation, it's who you are, how you do things, and how you raise vibration of the planet. So overall, there are a couple of areas that are vulnerable for divine feminine as well. I'm going to mention these in a moment, but overall, as you can already see, we are the feminine energy. Also within the masculines is the powerful energy of creation. It's fearless, it's powerful, it's patient, it sits in stillness, is strong, is creative, is alchemist, and it ascends upwards. Our role is to connect to the divine and be that bridge between the masculine energy and the divine. This is the feminine energy, right? Now, few more areas that I want to touch on are what we're vulnerable to and what creates that distorted sort of energy within the feminine. One is dysregulated emotions, right? Dysregulated emotions. So because our dominion is the internal world, remember what I said, internal world of emotions, right? Our job is to be very acquainted with emotions, right? So the feminine energy, when the emotion comes in, you understand fully. It's your dominion, right? It's your master of emotions. So you understand it, you feel it, you learn from it, you use it as guidance, and it doesn't take you off your center. So when you're not going to be there just yet, and if that energy is going to be distorted, you're going to be very prone to feeling very low on your energy. The D word that I don't think you can use here on on YouTube. You're going to be very dramatic, overly dramatic. You're going to have that victim mentality, right? So the true divine feminine, true feminine energy, balanced feminine energy understands that everything is a lesson, everything is a guidance. Emotions are guidelines, are compass to grow. So if you don't understand it, it's just like, why is this happening to me? Very drama queen, overly dramatic, imbalanced, dysregulated, very low on your energy, like I said, very victim mentality. On the other side of the coin, the healthy feminine energy, the balanced feminine energy, is a feminine that is compassionate, that is loving, that is mindful, that is connected to her emotion, that is vulnerable, that is very supportive, very caring, very nurturing, right? So it's the good aspect of this emotion. This is how we create. Remember I said we are home. This is how we create that home for the masculine. Caring, loving, nurturing, nourishing the softness of our emotion. We don't use our emotion to manipulate, or we don't allow our emotion to dysregulate us. We have them always at bay, and we use the good side of the emotion to provide that warmth, that feeling at home to the masculine energy. Another thing that is very, 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 very important for the feminine energy is self-worth. We have to know our worth. And in a moment, I'm going to mention final thing for the feminine, the key role of the feminine. And that self-worth is sort of a key to that, right? So we have to know who we are. Knowing who we are comes from remembrance, from connection to divine. They're all interconnected if you think about this. They're all very, very linked to each other, all these things that I've mentioned. But you have to have self-worth. You have to know who you are. You have to remember who you are, right? And when the feminine energy forgets who she is, she becomes insecure. She becomes very anxious, right? Because you don't feel that security, that self-worth, right? So you seek for that validation. You get anxious when you're not getting it, right? You become a people pleaser. You do not have boundaries. You jeopardize your own well-being. Then you put people first always, completely forgetting about your own needs. You sacrifice yourself, right? And you seek for that validation externally because you don't have that self-worth within. So you're hoping for people to do something, say something, give you something that will make you feel worthy, right? That's why it's so important to truly love ourselves, understand our value, understand our worth, and understand that it doesn't come from anything physical, right? And in your healthy feminine, when we talk about self-worth, you have the courage to become authentic. You are everything, you need nothing. You are very self-secure. You are independent, right? And why is it so important? That kicker is because here on this earth, us feminine, we are the gatekeepers. We sit on a portal through which all life comes to the physical world, right? How this life is created, the energy, how it is created, right? The soul lineage, the body lineage, the blood lineage, we are the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers of what enters this physical realm, and also the gatekeepers when it comes to sexuality, because the very strong difference between the females and the males is that because of everything that I've just mentioned, who we are, what's our energy, the creation energy, stillness energy, we control our urges and we control our lust better. Whereas men, not necessarily, because their passion, their forward movement, right? We're going to talk about masculine in a moment as well. So masculine don't control that lust. So we have to be the gatekeeper. You have to know your worth, right? You have to, I don't want anything, I don't need anything, I'm self-sufficient, I am everything. But in order to get access to me, the bar is right here. The bar is right here. This energy, feminine energy in its true glory, everything that I mentioned, creation, power, connection to divine, oracle, emotion, love, compassion, we are a prize. We are the prize, right? And we should be treated as such. And in order to be treated as such and be the gatekeepers, we are the creation. We teach men how to preserve the element of the divinity in the physical world, right? And in order to do that, we have to remember the divinity, our worth, our magic, right? And the last thing that I want to mention to you, very, very, very important for the feminines, is the connection to your body, right? Connection to your body, because it links to self-worth, it links to that gatekeeper, to that sexuality, connection to our vessel, understanding that our vessel is our sacral temple. In order to truly be the proper gatekeeper, we have to understand that we are that portal. We are sacral portal. This is a temple for element of divine. We cannot use it as currency to get something from men, to get validation from men, to manipulate men, to feel like they do something to us, so this is the currency that we pay to them, our body, our physicality. No, this is far away from being a divine feminine, a healthy feminine. Healthy feminine protects her body. We love our body. We tap into the magic of our body, the sensuality of our body, and we embody sexual freedom. And sexual freedom is something that is completely misunderstood these days, because sexual freedom is not about being free to have as many partners or whatever we want. Same goes to masculine energy, but sexual freedom is about, I am free. My sacral sexual energy, for which I can connect myself and the masculine to the divine, is free of shame, of guilt, and of stigma. It is truly connected to my power. It is something that was meant to give us access to divine ecstasy, to tantric experiences. This is why you need to protect your temple, take care of your temple, attend to your temple, understand your temple, develop mind and body connection. This is also something that we teach men, that masculine energy. So it's a very, very important element of the divine feminine. Divine feminine doesn't engage in any intimacy with someone who is not her counterpart, her king, her true soul connection, right? The chosen one. We are the chosen ones of the divine to embody the element of the divine in the physical worlds. And we have to translate that into, if you want to be my man, want to be my king, have the honor of be my king. These are the qualities that I will teach you to embody, because the bar is here, right? So what modern life, what the matrix, what society teaches us these days about sexual freedom, about, how, I don't even want to go there because it's a whole different topic, and perhaps I'm going to be guided to cover that topic as well in my feminine talks. But sacral sexuality is something extremely important for the divine feminine to truly understand and truly embody. All right, so let's move towards the masculine energy. I keep looking at my notes. If it's not your first video, I do that. But obviously, I am channeling, I am speaking divine knowledge, but I want to make sure, and I've explained this yesterday in yesterday's episode, if you're interested, how my process is and how I actually prepare. But I do have my notes to make sure I don't forget anything, because I get very excited about these topics, and because creation, chaos, feminine energy, I'm all over the place. So in order to have a little bit of structure, the masculine within helps me to prepare beforehand. So the masculine energy, what is masculine energy? Masculine energy is the energy that rules the physical world. The physical world is the dominion of the masculine, right? They understand this world better than we will ever be able to understand it. It is the energy of action, forward movement, progression, leadership. It's the energy of creation in a sense of builder, right? We create in a sense of spark, initiation, right? Chaos of creation, but they take that and they're the builders, the physical creators, they're protectors, they providers of everything in the physical world: abundance, protection, love, emotion, security, stability. And just like we did for the feminine, we're going to start from the vulnerable energetical points for the masculine. The masculine energy operates on a physical level, right? In the level of the physical world, in the 3D world, the rooted in the ground, right? So it's going to be vulnerable, and we'll have to take extra care around the energy points that connect us to the ground, to the physical world, which is the roots, which is the sacral, and which is the solar plexus. So starting from the root, how do we know that the root is imbalanced, and how does it manifest in and shows in the distorted masculine, unhealthy masculine? So in healthy masculine energy is unable to commit, is afraid of commitment, thinks that commitment is something, doesn't understand commitment completely, thinks commitment is cage, right? The roots and commitment and connecting truly to something is cage. Complete misunderstanding of freedom, and we'll speak about concept of freedom in a moment because it's very important for the masculines. Distorted masculine is going to be focused on money, and very attached to success, right? So the money is going to be his objective. He will want money to then execute different wounded qualities that we're going to talk about, but money is going to be the objective. Physical success, right, is going to be his objective. And if the root is imbalanced, he's going to be very indisciplined, right? Because he's not rooted, because he's not committed. And we'll talk about what it means, commitment, in a moment. But when there's no commitment within the masculine, he's undisciplined. He's focused on the wrong thing. Now, when the masculine is healthy, when the masculine is divine, right? So when that chakra, very important chakra for the masculine, is actually balanced, he becomes the builder of the physical world, the builder of a family, the builder of home. So feminine is that emotional home, that home in a sense of wherever we go, whatever we do, I am your home. In my arms, there's your home. But then the masculine is the one that builds an actual physical home. So we have space to feel safe, to exist, to thrive, creates physical items that create that home, right? He's going to be, and the family, he's going to be the protector, and the provider. And when the masculine is healthy, he understands the value of the feminine. And when he connects to a healthy feminine who is not manipulative and, right, everything that we've mentioned, it is his joy, pleasure, and privilege to be the protector and be the provider, right? Because the healthy masculine, when he encounters healthy feminine, we'll talk about the dynamics in a moment, it's like finding the most precious gem. You are the element. You are my goddess. You are element of divinity. You are magic. You are magic. You are my oracle. You connect me to God. I am so grateful that I found you. Let me cherish you. Let me hold you. Let me protect you. Let me provide for you. This is that kind of energy. Healthy, masculine, feminine, right? So he's going to be proud to be that provider, that protector, to create that home, to create that structure. He's going to be very committed, because commitment of the masculine starts from commitment to self. This is where he understands, if I commit to self, if I commit to my mission, to my growth, to being that leader, to being that provider, I understand that commitment is what builds the valuable world that we're building, the new earth, right? It creates the stability. It's a core of stability and structure, commitment. So he commits to himself, he commits to the feminine, he commits to love, he commits to life, he commits to his path and to building this path. And the final very important thing for that healthy masculine on the level of the root is full understanding. If you're hearing a outside noise, I'm so sorry, but it's a beautiful day and it's a little bit hot here inside, so I wanted to open a window because it's very fresh and nice, and I'm looking at these beautiful green trees that I have in front of my window. I'm so grateful. And perfect weather today. A bit chilly, but it's actually allowing this fresh. No, never mind. Doesn't matter. Sorry, deviation. The last thing is full understanding, true understanding of abundance. True masculine understands that he carries value, right? And we'll talk about self-worth in a moment, that he carries value. He brings in value. And the value doesn't depend on anything. That the provider, the structure, the stability doesn't come from money. It comes from you. It comes from him. It's not the money. It's not the money in his bank account that are giving the structure, the stability, and the protection, right? It's the energy. And true masculine understands that if you embody this energy, if you're female, if you're feminine, if you're a community, if people around you, they feel that that you're committed to them, that you're providing for them, that you're protecting them, you're following your mission, because this is the mission of the masculine. Healthy world, new earth, breaking the matrix, right? How it's supposed to look like here. So when you do that, you understand that abundance is only a byproduct. So he changes that approach, because when the masculine is wounded, he thinks, I have to do things for money. Money is my goal, money is my objective. Cars, houses, cash, money in my bank account, this is my objective. But true masculine understands that this is a byproduct. If I embody the energy, it's this ultimate comparison that Bashar always gives, and I love it. It's like looking in a mirror, right? So you want to see a reflection that is happy. You are that mirror. Physical life is what we see in the mirror. The person standing in front of a mirror is the soul, right? So you want to see happiness. You want to see abundance. You want to see, but you want that to start first, right? So you look in the mirror and you want to see your reflection smiling, but smile first. It starts from within, right? What looks in the mirror is the internal world. What we see, the reflection, is the external world, right? So the masculine thinks that I want money externally, so I'm looking for that reflection to give me money. But what he doesn't understand, that he has to change what initiates the abundance. So when he steps into the energy of I am the leader, I'm the provider, I can do this, and God will show me how. Divine will show me how. My feminine will show me how. She will inspire me. God will inspire me. Universe will inspire me. And I will trustfully follow that path. Abundance will follow. Abundance is always a byproduct of us being aligned, us following our passion, us following our path. It's not an objective in itself. It's a twisted understanding. It's a wounded, distorted understanding. It's not an objective in itself. So it's something very, very important for the masculine to heal on the level of the root, right? Now, moving to the next one, which is the sacral. Very important, because remember that sacral sexuality that I mentioned for the feminine, we connect through sacral energy point, right? And unfortunately, we carry most of our trauma around that energy point. And the distorted masculine on the level of a sacral is going to be someone who has a very unhealthy sexuality, someone who completely misunderstands sexual freedom, someone who is guided by lust, not passion, someone who doesn't understand that the sacral energy within that we carry, that is created with the masculine, right? That sacral energy that is brewing within the masculine, that also gives him energy for that forward movement. The element that they're missing is before they externalize it, be it towards sexual activity, but also any other activity that they do, it needs to go through the portal of the heart first. right? Intimacy shouldn't exist between two people that don't have love for each other, that don't have soul connection. It's shallowness, it's matrix, it's low vibrational energy, right? So because men, what I mentioned to you, they're so vulnerable when it comes to lust and being guided by lust, because they don't know how to direct that energy. This is what we teach them, see? Because we go upwards, we ascend upwards. They are about forward movement, we are about ascending upwards. So when it comes to this powerful, this is the most powerful chakra that we have, sacral chakra. So important in divine connection. What we teach them is, before you go with forward movement, if you know what I mean, you have to rise it to the level of the heart and allow it to flow through the heart, and then move with forward movement. So there's no sexuality without love. There's no career without passion. There's no forward movement without true objective, values, portal of the heart, bridge of the heart, right? So when he's in balance, he's going to be guided by lust. He's going to be using this as a point of validation. He's going to have very unhealthy sexuality, and it's a very, very important thing for the masculines to understand, and to understand what sexual freedom actually means, what I've mentioned to you guys before, to understand how they can free themselves. And that freedom is not just on the level of sexuality, but also self-expression, right? Raising that energy to the heart, building meaningful relationships, right? The worthiness that my sexuality is not just to conquer women, it's not just to seek for validation, is to give pleasure, is to receive pleasure, is to connect to the divine, is to connect to the portal of the divine, to the portal of the feminine, right? And we move to that very dark layer of the sacral chakra, which is lack of worthiness. And it's something very vulnerable for the masculines, very vulnerable, especially the masculines on the twin flame journey, on the divine journey, because I talk about this all the time. To transmute something and to change something in this life and raise it, vibrate, we have to get to know it. So they have to go through the gunk of it, right? And most of them really suffer from very low self-esteem, very low self-worth, shame for being who they are, for feeling how they feel. And it blocks freedom of expression, freedom of sexuality, because they stay on a shallow level. It's such a powerful thing on this journey because, again, sexuality is a powerful tool for us to fuse with another person, and through tantric experience to connect to the divine, to connect to God, to connect to our existence, the magic of our existence, to connect to the astrals, right? And when we treat it with shallowness, I don't know how to explain this to you. It's like taking your most precious, beautiful, amazing evening gown that was given to you by the Queen of England, especially designed for you, for the best designers, best fabrics, best materials, putting it on and going to clean the toilet. That's basically it. That's what happens when we misunderstand that our sexuality, freedom of sexuality, power of sexuality. And that's what happens when we disrespect it and we misuse it. So very important for the masculine energy. Now, moving to solar plexus. Solar plexus, when it's in its healed energy, right? When it's balanced, very important for the masculine energy, because solar is our willpower. It's our power, it's our focus, it's our forward movement, it's our fire, it's our courage, it's the action oriented, the confident, the courageous, I can do this, right? Is this fire within the masculine, right? That tells him, this is my path, I'm going to go forward, and I don't care who's going to be left behind. You know why? Because I'm a leader. They're supposed to be behind. They're supposed to follow me. But unfortunately, oftentimes it gets, again, vulnerable to low vibrational energy and to imbalance for the masculines, which creates codependency, especially the masculines on a journey, again, of divine love to inflame, because they get attached to karmics. And you know what karmics do? They hold you back. So imbalance in solar plexus causes that, oh, I feel like I could do more, I feel like I could be more, I feel like I could move forward, but I'm afraid to do this because I know that these people are not going to follow, and I want to be with them, right? I want to be with them because I'm afraid to be on my own. That willpower of true masculine, of true leader, is like, I'm a leader, hello, I cannot follow them, I have to be the first one to go, and if they don't choose to follow me, well, so be it. I know where I'm supposed to go. It's the fire, it's the confidence, it's the power of the mask, is the king of wands, right? And when that energy is out of balance and is distorted, it creates codependency. It creates fear of failure. It creates comparison, competition instead of collaboration. It creates jealousy. It creates that, it's exactly what I've mentioned. Not enough courage and independence to say, this is where I need to go. And if I have to go there on my own, so be it. I don't need anybody, right? I know my mission. Now, two things, but less important, very important thing that I want to mention, is that, as you noticed, we've talked about, the connection of the feminine energy with the upper chakras that connects us to the divine, and connection to the masculine with the lower chakras that connects us to the physical realm and the physical existence. And in between these 6 chakras, there's a portal of love, there's a portal of heart, right? And all the qualities that I've mentioned as well to you that the feminine has around the emotion, right? It is also linked to the portal of the heart, that we have to be the unconditional love, the nurturing energy, the caring energy, the compassionate energy, right? It all sits in the heart. But the heart is this is where we meet, right? The heart is a very important energy point for the masculine energy, because they're very vulnerable there as well. The distorted masculine, the toxic masculine, the wounded masculine completely rejects the heart, right? So a true man who is balanced, true masculine energy, right, that is balanced on the level of the heart, connects to the heart through emotions. He's not afraid to connect to his emotions. So he becomes present, kind, humble, honest, vulnerable, compassionate, connected to his emotions, open to love, right? He trusts the heart. He uses it as a filter, so to speak, for the energy that he has here in the root, right? So before, remember, again, we go like this, masculine go like this, but we have to teach them to sometimes go like this first. So the root energy is how I get money. So before I'm like, money, 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 first through the heart. So passion, right? That sexuality, like last, I want it. No, before you move forward, filter it through the heart. I love you. That's why I want to connect to your body. I want to build meaningful relationship with you. The fire, the willpower, right? Before you just want to like, bruh, filter it through the portal of the heart. I have a mission. I have the willpower. I have dedication. I have the courage, right? So the heart is a very important element of the masculine. Before the forward movement, everything should be checked with the heart, right? And when the heart is out of balance for the masculine, what happens is that there's a lot of aggression. And aggression is, I always say this, aggression is a byproduct of unhealed grief, of lack of connection to the heart, right? And oftentimes we're going to talk about the dynamics between masculine and feminine, but oftentimes when there's no healthy feminine in the life of the masculine, so in a form of a female, of a mother, but also internally, right? But it's that mother that teaches you that healthy feminine internally. What happens is that there's a lot of aggression. And when you mix aggression with misunderstanding of money, of sexuality, of passion, of lust, it's a recipe for disaster. So if a masculine is not capable to filter everything through the filter of the heart, it's a recipe for disaster. And when the masculine is healthy on the level of the heart, like I said, he's honest, present, kind, compassionate. He's tapped into his emotion. He's not afraid of these emotions. He's vulnerable. But when that when there's disimbalance, right? He leads with aggression. He becomes, it's this cold, it's this locked heart energy, right? That I talk about a lot in my readings. So it becomes very cold, very distant, very defensive, very selfish, very mistrusting to the healthy feminine, right? And it's a very dangerous place to be, because we have a lot of power as feminists in the spiritual realm, a lot of power, but this physical world is ruled by the masculine, right? So if the masculine is disconnected from the heart, we're creating hell on earth. It's the heart that changes it all that energy that he has in his bottom chakras is the filter of the heart that changes it all. And it's not this known thing that we live in a toxic masculine patriarchal world right now that is wounded just by that. A wounded masculine energy that cannot be filtered through the heart because the heart is imbalanced. And that patriarchy also as well creates the domination, the controlling, the stubbornness, the complete disconnection from the feminine, right? And we're going to move now to how these energies should work together. But if the heart is locked, remember what I said, feminine and masculine, this is the bridge. So when the heart is locked, the feminine and the masculine within you will not be able to connect and work together. But if your heart is locked, you're also not going to be able to connect with your feminine externally, right? And she's not going to be able to. This is the portal. This is where we meet. Like I said, this is where we meet. And the true healthy masculine, yes, he's logical because this world is his dominion, but he's a leader. He collaborates with the feminine internally and externally. His internal feminine, he doesn't deny his emotion, his intuition, his inner knowing, his connection to the divine, right? And at the same time, he doesn't deny that externalized in a woman. He understands that we work together. It's about collaboration, not stubbornness. Not don't tell me what to do. I want to control you. That's why distorted men don't really understand that we're equals. the feminine and masculine energy, that we're really equals. And the root of the issue is that they either disrespect us or they fear us, right? Because when they disrespect us, it's usually because they didn't have a healthy feminine model in childhood, right? So the feminine was very distorted. The mother was very distorted. Maybe first girlfriends or caregivers or women in the family, they were very distorted. So they were shallow. They were about gossip, about everything that I've mentioned, remember? So emotional, dramatic, not controlling emotion, wanting something from men, manipulative, everything that I've said, which creates disconnection of the man from the female. They stop respecting the female because they treat her as liability. She's powerless. She's distorted, so she's powerless. She's not bringing anything to the table. She's focused on self, her emotions, right? And if they disrespect the feminine from childhood, they're not going to be able to work together with the feminine. And if that energy is created, oftentimes as they move along in life and they come across the actual healthy feminine, they feel very threatened by that energy because they themselves are in the wounded energy, right? Why? Because a distorted feminine will not raise a healthy masculine. And vice versa, distorted masculine father will not raise a healthy feminine. Distortion creates distortion. This is why we say that us, people who heal, who choose to heal, we break generational trauma. We break that distortion. We break that imbalance, right? This is what we mean when we say creation of new earth. Education of new generations, what the healthy energy looks like, right? So let's talk about that really healthy dynamics, right? So the base of that dynamics, as I mentioned, is understanding that we're equals, right? So like I said, wounded man is either going to disrespect feminine energy because he's known distorted feminine energy, or he will be threatened by that energy because he is distorted, so he's not in his power, so he feels weak, right? And the feminine energy, when we are distorted, we also don't feel we don't feel equal. We feel like they're superior, right? So the first thing, this healthy masculine feminine energy, you first need to create it within yourself. This is how we heal, right? So you have to understand, okay, I have a feminine and I have a masculine within. Now, how I'm going to heal? So you're going to go to all those qualities that I've listed to you, and I'm going to list them below in the description box as well, and think, where am I distorted? Where my feminine and my masculine within is imbalanced, is unhealed, is distorted, right? And when you discover that, you start to heal. And when you heal your masculine, your feminine within, they in that divine state, you start to teach them healthy dynamics. And when you teach them that healthy dynamics, you create inner union within. And when that inner union is created, you go ahead and you can create external union with your divine counterpart, either dropping into your feminine or rising into your masculine externally. And that internal union and dynamics that you have going on very well internally, you're going to be able to translate that externally to your external union with your partner, Cheros Gamos. And when the both of you embody that, you're going to be able to teach future generations, new earth people, how that works. Because the world of today thinks that it's a constant fight, superiority, inferiority. Who's better, patriarchy or matriarchy? We're supposed to work together. There has to be an initiation point, and we are that initiation point, the feminines, because we connect to the void. We are the creation, but it doesn't mean that we're superior. One doesn't exist without the other. So let's talk about that healthy dynamic. Let's talk about that healthy loop. So it starts with us. I'm going to give you an example, right? So the feminine, the healthy feminine, like I said, she's connected to her intuition, she's connected to her passion. She is the oracle. So she goes into the void and gets relevant information, relevant downloads for her masculine, for the union, for their community. We cannot know everything in the void because our brain, physical brain, would explode. So we pull out what we're being given by the divine as relevant on that level of a journey, right? So we take that information, and this information is that inner knowing. So we go ahead and we share that with our masculine, right? And we say, this is what I've heard, this is what I feel, that's what's in my intuition. I'm giving you this information. So the masculine is very logical, so he goes like, well, how do you know this? Where's this coming from? What is the logic? And it's like, I don't know. I connected into the void. I know this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what we're supposed to do today, in the next month. I know. Okay. And then the healthy masculine says, I trust you. Because that loop, that healthy dynamics, in the center, there's trust. So the masculine says, I trust you. I will now take that information and translate this information into the physical world, right? So I'm going to give you a very specific example. Maybe small, maybe insignificant, but very specific. Let's say the masculine, the man, right? It can be happening on an internal level. So keep thinking about that. It can be your internal conversation within. The masculine energy comes and says, you know what? I have 2 jobs offer, and they're so different, and I've analyzed them internally and logically, like the pro cons list, and I don't know what to do, right? So the feminine is like, give me a moment. I'm going to go into meditation. I'm going to go to the forest. I'm going to connect in. Let's see what comes through, right? So she releases and cleanses her body to become a channel, and something comes to her, right? The process can be different for all of us. Again, it's going to depend, are we talking about internal dynamics or external, but it can be very different. So something comes to the feminine. She says, you know what, in my meditation, I've heard that this is something that you need to consider. That specific information is something that you need to consider when you make that choice. And the masculine trusts that guidance. He trusts that information. And based on that information, he makes that choice. And because masculine trusted the feminine with the information that she given him from the void, he now puts that into action. And she trusts him that he will know what to do with this information in the physical world. So she doesn't direct him to any specific decision. She doesn't tell him what to do in life. She doesn't tell him what to do in the physical, how to manage, how to be the protector and the provider, and how to be a man. She trusts, she releases, right? And this is how that healthy dynamic looks like. It's the heart and the brain, right? Maybe you've seen that little story. It's in memes and stories, and it's all over the place. It's the battle of the heart and the brain. It's a conversation of the heart and the brain. The masculine is the brain. The feminine is the heart. They're not supposed to argue. They're not supposed to fight. They're not supposed to tell each other one to another, you're stupid. You're stupid because you don't feel anything and you just look at logic. Oh my God, and you're emotional and you're stupid because there's no logical proof in what you're saying. No. And unfortunately, way over 90% of people have that internal battle within. Right? So men distrust their feminine within, the intuition within, the God within, the oracle within, the connection to the void within, the emotion, the heart, the doing the right thing, right? And women oftentimes mistrust our masculine within, right? The one that pushes us to do things, the one that tells us what direction to go, the one that tells us to be strong. So we have to fix that on an internal level. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to fix that externally. So this is inner union. Inner union is recognition that I have a masculine and feminine energy within. They love each other, they support each other, they admire each other, they work together, right? And when you achieve that, you can externalize it. And this is how we create new earth. This is how we restore divine balance. And the disimbalance in that divine order, the unfortunate byproduct of that is patriarchy. The unfortunate byproduct of that is toxic feminism. Because feminism, it's another topic. Feminism is not about women hating men or fighting with men, right? We're constantly, in the modern world, we're constantly fighting with each other. We're constantly trying to prove something, right? It's not how it's supposed to look like. We're supposed to work together. Remember what I said. The masculine understands that the feminine energy that he finds, whether within or externally, is the most precious, gentle gem that he has found. So he takes it. And because he knows that, oh my God, this feminine thing, this my queen, thanks to her, through her body, through her mind, through her magic, I'm going to be able to connect to the universe, to the divine knowledge, to pleasure of this life, to privilege of being in her divine energy, right? She's magic. So I'm going to take her and I'm going to use all my beautiful energy within to protect her, to provide for her, to create with her, to join forces. And the feminine is going to be like, oh my God, he has seen the magic within. He's connected. So right now I'm going to give in. I'm going to be submissive to my masculine because I trust him, that he's the provider. He's my protector. He will be loyal. He will be committed. He's guided by values. He's a leader. He's a builder of new earth. So all my magic that I carry within, I will give to him so he can transmute that into the building blocks of new earth. This is how the divine union looks like. This is heros gamos. This is feminine and masculine building together. I hope this was helpful. I know, as always, I was all over the place. I was really looking at my notes all the time, not to forget anything. If you have any questions, let me know. If there's a specific wounding that you feel like you want to know a little bit more about how to address that, right? This distorted element, let me know. And as always, if you've enjoyed this, please like and comment. If you wish to connect to me further, you can do that either via TikTok, where I post daily stories and also readings and content, or via Instagram, that is a little bit more private for me, but it's open, just like my heart. So you can drop me a message, and if you feel guided to book a session with me, I'm a psychic. If this is your first video watching, I'm a psychic medium. I'm a shadow worker. I'm a divine love reader, alignment reader, channel for divine knowledge. So if you wish to get on session with me, you can do that via Instagram direct message. You can book in via Instagram. I love you so incredibly much. Remember, we are here to change the paradigm, to move from fear to love. And that means that we have to move from competition to collaboration of the feminine.